Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Meant to Vent News. My name is Jaime, and if you're new to the channel, what I like to do here is give my crazy thoughts and opinions on trending news around the globe, and sometimes I connect them to conspiracies because conspiracies are undefeated. So if you're new to the channel, I'd appreciate it if you would hit that like button, smash that hype button, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. And with that said, man, oh man, I've been covering a lot of corruption lately. Lately, there's just been head-to-toe, nonstop full-blown corruption just being exposed. The more you read, the more you find. And lately we've been having these crazy situations happening. We've been going through some very strange trials and tribulations right now. And as people out here, I hold my faith strong, and I pray for everyone. It's just really tough times. And I'm really angry and upset about some things, and as a lot of people are too. I feel like some evil has been exposed. This has been a battle between good and evil. I've expressed that many times in numerous episodes. Even when I spin off on crazy conspiracies, this is really strange. And some people were showing their evil sides. When someone lost their life and was taken in a very violent way, people were sitting here celebrating and acting like they were super happy in celebration. And that was really messed up, in my opinion. I'm not speaking for anybody else. It's just my own opinion. I thought that was kind of crazy. And then the way other sides of the media were trying to spin off these crazy stories, I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with it. And I don't care how upset people get with me and my own opinion or whatever it is or what have you. But I'm not okay with this at all. Like, I'm not okay with the way all this stuff went down. Like, they had a suspect. Some guy, when the shot went down, a guy comes out of nowhere and starts shouting he's the shooter. And he says, "Arrest me and shoot me," and things like that. Comes out, this guy looks like he seems to be some kind of crisis actor. And I'm not okay with this either. He has ties to the marathon bombing, 9/11, and some other crazy other events. And now this is pretty strange, and it doesn't add up. And I'm not okay with that either. I'm not okay with the way they have these things going on. And the way all this information just is not adding up. All these different details, all these things happening. It is very strange, and I'm sure more details are not going to come out, just as much as the other things come out. I'm also not okay with what people are saying. I went and looked it up. Apparently, there was a vote made to not release the files on the same day this event happened. Unfortunately, a lot of things were shadowed under this event. There was a school shooting under this event, and a lot of things were foreshadowed because they wanted to make this super political, which I'm not okay with as well. They used this person's life, they took away from this person's family to push another narrative. And to me, I feel like their one goal is to do this martial law thing to where they're going to make one set of rules for everybody, and it's going to be about total control. And I mean, this is just my own opinion. This is really wild what's going on here. I feel like they are really amping it up. And there's a lot of strange things that's happening out here. Like J.D. Vance, like nobody wants to talk about him, for instance. I'm not okay with him having ties to like David Frum, David Sachs, Peter Thiel, things like that. And him and Elon Musk, like things were going on like behind the scenes with this guy getting propped up, like before we even knew this dude. And like we didn't even know the guy until he started getting propped up to be VP. And let's keep it real. Unless you lived in the town he was in, you didn't know this guy. You just came up and started liking him, But I'm not okay with these connections. I'm just not okay with it. Let's take a look at this. This guy was brought up by Peter Thiel. The guy was a mentor to him. They said he started a venture capital company with him, put him into his own company. Then he started his own capital company, which got invested by the CEO of Google and Mark Andreessen, whoever the heck this giant billionaire was that invested money. And I guess David Sachs is one also donated to his company when he started his firm. So like this guy was all getting propped up by this weirdo guy and Peter Thiel, And I guess he funded his whole governing campaign. Like this dude was just getting money up behind everybody, getting backed by this real psycho guy. And also, which is really weird about this psycho guy, he also in 2021, they had to take him to Mar-a-Lago so he can now be friends with Trump. And apparently he didn't like Trump before this. I guess he didn't like Trump at all. And he was one of the guys that was toting all this Nazi talk and all these things when Trump was making his run back in the day. But then now that he's got all the money and he's about to jump into power, well, you got to scratch all that. Just like Kamala did when she was calling Biden a racist and then they became VP team. He was a president and VP. And that went really well. But I mean, this is just bananas. They said he donated one of the highest recorded donations to a single candidate in history. Like if that doesn't even feel shady or anything like that. And I'm not okay with that either. And there's a lot more things that I'm not okay with. Like about this Peter Thiel guy. Who is this dude? Some venture capitalist entrepreneur, co-founder of PayPal, Palantir Technologies. And we'll have to touch on some of those companies at another time. But let's also talk about him owning all these big companies and also doing like a 4-part closed door seminar on the Antichrist. Like that's not strange. Right? And we're not having a battle of good or evil, but this guy's having a 4-part seminar, a big billionaire. You know, he's talking about the Antichrist in a closed door seminar. We should see who's on that ticket list. How about that? I wonder if we can get a little bit of that. You know, because at a time we're having all these like crazy troubled times, this dude wants to talk about Satan, talk about a helper of Satan. That's not evil, and I'm not okay with that. And now the attack that happened on Charlie Kirk. And everybody's wondering, like, was this a message? This was a clear message. And I believe this was a clear message. And the people in public were also the receivers of this message. And I think it was about the freedom of speech. Like, you can talk and say a lot of crazy things. Like I told you before, I can say a lot of crazy, outlandish, crazy theories and things like that. But if I talk about, certain people that invest in a company, they will not show the footage. And this goes for a certain government and another overseas over there that a lot of people don't like to talk about because it seems like once you do, they put the spotlight on you. And it seems like crazy that everybody points the finger at Israel and their secret, that secret government and all these crazy things they're so influential over here with, their influences on AIPAC and things like that over here. And it's really wild that a lot of people, donate funds and a lot of money goes through this company that gets funneled over to a place that's supposedly doing really bad things. So what if this was a clear message to all of us to be careful where we're going or to be careful where we follow because we got too big for our britches? It seemed like for a minute there, God was winning for a little bit here. Like religion is like getting really strong. And I feel like after this Charlie Kirk event, like it's just a lot of people's faith got even stronger. And someone on the podcast made a strange statement when he said the devil had a hard time hiding himself at this time. And it showed a lot of people's evil sides out there, which was like they say was the devil or demon speaking through that. And it was an interesting take on it. It was a really interesting take. But I feel really nervous about these things if they're going to go that aggressive and they're going to take everything in that fast of a pace. And I feel like we should bring our faith as strong as we can, try to be as together as we can, as hard as it is, because all they're going to do is push more divide lines between us. More than ever. And I think by them trying to take out influential people and people that have people power, what I call people power, they try to get these kind of people out of the way. And it's kind of scary. And I know that more people will emerge, but they're going to have a different way of an approach. And all these people like coming out now, like, oh, I'm going to pick up his microphone. Like Ben Shapiro comes out and says some stuff like, oh, I'm going to pick up his bloody mic and take the place of where he left off. I'm sorry, buddy. It's not going to be you. Your yarmulke's too big, homie. And I'm just going to say that, and I don't care who that offends, because I'm not okay with this stuff. Like, us as taxpayers have to sit here and be quiet all the time. And it's like, I'm going to speak for myself, not speaking for anybody else. But I got to sit here, and I'm not allowed to say anything, but I'm supposed to work my butt off all the time and not say a word when my money goes to another government and like all these other people, and you don't even know where your money goes. And I'm supposed to just sit here and be quiet. But now we're starting to see where some of this money's going, and I'm not okay with this stuff. I'm not okay with it anymore. I got to go work and bust my butt, and hopefully I can dream, hopes, and maybe I get a raise or a promotion one time, or somebody gives me an offer to a nice job where maybe I get a better life for my family. And I'm literally out here breaking myself. And I'm not okay with my government and other people funneling my money to a country or another foreign government that has this like ideas and crazy ideals and plans and narratives of doing an ethnic cleansing of over 2 million people. And I'm not okay with this. And my name is Jaime, and this has been another episode of Meant to Vent News. Till next time.